Welcome to the vlog, guys. This is starting on a Friday because that is the best day aside from Saturday and Sunday, right? So as usual, the day started with taking the pups out, and then I'm doing a little work here. I am blessed to be able to work a little bit from home. I don't work primarily at home, but a little, and so I'm very, very thankful for that. Am I the only one who just enjoys staring off into space whilst eating? Earlier this year, I was trying to get away from eating and looking at my phone, and I'm pretty good at that now. I can eat and not have to watch something. But after a crazy day, a really busy or social day, I'm sure a lot of people do this, but I find myself just staring off into space. Just trying to take it all in and recover. I can't be the only one. So the books that I have out from the library are not the only ones on my TBR, but obviously the ones I need to get to quickest. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, and Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. And I found that I was interested in each of these in different ways and just not sure what I wanted to pick up for the weekend, so I just decided to try a chapter of each. And I'm starting here with Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This one is a sci-fi, but I've heard it's kind of like a slice of life. It's about a cafe where you can sit in this one spot and time travel, but you have to get back before your coffee gets cold. So at this point, I feel like I've lost the thread of this one. There's a certain family, and the women pass down the ability to pour the coffee that allows people to go back in time. I think I just got this from the library, and I would read in between sessions at work or when I got home or when I got up, and I'm reading other things in between, and I don't know. There are a lot of names in this one, but I don't know. I'm going to try to just continue with this one. I don't know if it'll be this weekend. We'll see. This one's drawing me. I'm not in a hurry to cry, I'll tell you that much. This prisoner comes in, this male prisoner, Leil Sokolov, a Slovakian Jew. The Nazis find out that he has an affinity for languages and knows quite a few, so they make him the person that tattoos the arms of the new prisoners. That went okay. What do you think? The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I've read a few of his and I really liked them. I just finished Survive the Night and I liked that one. I've heard good things about this one. Now this one is a surprise to me, and I don't know if we're gonna get on. I like fantasy. I don't know much about trends. I had no idea that a low stakes fantasy was a trend. I'm not really on social media as someone who feeds into it or takes a lot out of it, but I did see that this beautiful number is making the rounds. So I don't know if this just for giggles has been kind of put out there as like, hey, let's read this next. This is trending and I'm a fool, or if it's really, really good. So it's about this orc. I'm guessing this one here because she's huge. She wants to stop battling for a living, and her dream is to run a cafe. What I've heard is that it's really all about starting this cafe in a town that doesn't already have one and trying to get things on the menu that all these different species would like. That sounds interesting, and I don't know why, but it sounds really cute. And I've seen the other cover, and honestly, I like this one. I didn't know what to think when I went to, have it scanned, because of course I didn't have my card. But I'm sure the lady was just like, what is that? Maybe they don't judge. Maybe they just see everything, and so they just don't even judge what people's tastes are. Maybe she thought it was a comic book. I don't know, because it looks like, I don't know, it's just interesting. Sunday, after church and Sunday school, I can happily say that I read 2 books with the help of also having them on audiobook. But the first one I read, which I'm kind of wishing I hadn't have gone through with, because I feel like reading a book that you don't get on with is a bit of a waste of time. There's so many books and so much limited time. I usually DNF if I don't like something, but I was like 77 pages in. It's a relatively short book, it's 300 pages, so I thought I can do this. And they're small pages, like this is a small little book. So Before Your Memory Fades by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. It's a sci-fi, but it's not action-packed. It's very slice of life, dialogue heavy, and I didn't get on with, I don't know if this is the speech pattern or how they talk to one another in Japan, which I'm judging on with, my American eyes and what I like to read and how I talk. But there would be dialogue and then someone would reply, huh? Over and over and over ad nauseum, and I just don't get on with that. Just say what you want to say and make it smooth and let the dialogue flow without these jumpy, huh? What? There's no need to add that. In my opinion. So I don't think that helped this book at all. There are 3 or 4 stories in here about people that go and sit in the seat that takes you back in time or forward in time. And I get what the book is trying to say. Like, yes, even if you could go back or forward in time, you can't change history. You can't change what happens in your life, but you might be able to change your perspective. And that is a good reminder, but I would rather get it some other way. I gave this 2 stars, and that was kind. That was kind of Friday, Saturday morning. And then I started and completed The Tattooist of Auschwitz. This one I liked. It's not my favorite Holocaust book by any means. Apparently it is based off of Lale Sokolov and the love of his life that he met in Auschwitz, Gita Furman. This delves into him being processed into Auschwitz and becoming the tattooist, and it's almost incredible the things that happened to him, to the point where you're like, you got off so many times and so many incredible things happened to you. Is that real? And maybe because I'm comparing it to other stories where just the worst of the worst things happen and people barely scrape by off the skin of their teeth if they get out of there at all. And this guy just catches break after break after break. I get it. He's a linguist. I mean, not by training, but he just has an aptitude for languages and knows like 4 or 5 languages. And people know that, and they know that they can use that. The Germans use it, and then he gets away and the Russians use it. And it talks about the plight of women, and men have it terrible in their way, because they're doing the hard labor. Women are also laboring, but they also could be sexualized. It wasn't my favorite Holocaust book. I haven't rated it yet. I'm guessing it's going to be maybe a 3, which is not terrible. It's fast-paced. I would recommend it. It's the ins and outs of what it would have been like to be in Auschwitz and be set free, or not set free, but you see the Allied planes going over, and there's an end to it, and you still have to struggle through getting away somehow and leaning on normal people in the area to help you get back to wherever you're from, and then being captured again by a different army. And it's going to be bad from page 1 to the end, but it didn't make me cry like some books have done. And a lot of the prisoners were very nice and humane to one another, and that's not really what we know from like man's search for meaning. I believe that this is what happened with this man. That could just be the author putting her spin on it. It just seemed outlandish to me, but again, I don't have any way of knowing. I'm not going to search to see if that's really what happened to him.
Okay, let me just say that most of the Holocaust books that I have read, the conditions that the Jewish people were in, and other prisoners, they had all sorts of people in there, but they were stripped of their humanity. They didn't have enough health, vitality, or thoughts, or emotions, or strength enough to really help one another. That was taken from them. So it's just, I'm not saying that these things didn't happen to this guy. He didn't catch break after break, but it's just not something I've really read or experienced before in books. And I haven't read every Holocaust book, but it is an interest of mine, and I do read Holocaust books often. And I just feel like this one was short, and he just catches break after break. I'm sure having that aptitude for languages really helped, and maybe that's why it's so different But yeah, I honestly felt like it was just unbelievable for me to really get into the story because I was so shocked that all these really good things happened to him and he didn't get caught. And the other people around him, some people did, but for the most part, I won't say it was ever smooth sailing because it was horrible and I wouldn't wish it on anyone ever.
3 stars. Last night, what kept me from getting to bed on time was Legends and Lattes. I've got this from the library in physical book form. There's a mouse in an apron. I'm just on the back. I was reading it on Kindle last night. That's my favorite way to read at night. I don't know. My husband doesn't like light at all at night, although I would prefer at night to not being on yet another screen. But this is definitely what it says it is. It's a fantasy slice of life, but I'm seeing romantic froth. I don't really need a romance. I don't know. I hope this was a good decision. The Pillsbury, this is the Great Value brand, but even the Pillsbury, they're a little better, but they still fall apart. It works out for this recipe, so I don't worry too much about it. So this is just a 10.5 ounce can of condensed cream of chicken soup and 12.5 ounce can of chicken breast. 12 ounces of frozen mixed vegetables, which I just do a cup and a half. And you mix that all together, you put it in your pie crust, put the top crust on, and bake for 50 minutes for 350. Super easy, we do this all the time. My husband loves this. But just know that your crust is gonna fall apart. And it frustrated me the first few times, and I was like, this is gonna be ugly and terrible, but yeah, who cares? Can you hear me? Hi. I might read this afternoon. I'm just not sure. Yesterday, I had a cancellation and actually got home early and still didn't use that time wisely. Oh, and it was my day not to work out. So I had the whole afternoon and evening open and spread out before me in which I could do anything I wanted. And as happens with many people, I'm sure, and as happens with me quite a bit, I didn't do anything. My head's cut off. Oops. I didn't do anything that I wanted to do. And it kind of made me feel bad about myself, but I'm just gonna try not to go there. I'm just gonna try not to feel that way. That's how I decided to use my time. I can't ever get it back. It's just the way it is, and there's no sense in being upset about it. So all I could do is try to make better decisions in the future. But before bed, I did read from Legends and Lattes.
Editing me again. I just couldn't stand that entire segment was so out of focus. So I was just talking about Legends and Lattes and my love for, what is his name? Thimblet. No, I think the little rat's name is Thimble, and he starts making the little thimblets, and that is the cutest. He's my favorite so far. I haven't gotten bored with it yet. I'm taking it page by page, about 10 Kindle pages a day. I'm well over halfway through. Anyway, this is the outro. That week is done. This is like a few weeks later, or maybe a week later. Yeah, that's all done. Hopefully that wasn't boring. It seems like there's a lot of talk about books I didn't like. Anyway, bye. Happy reading.